But that local TV money is not guaranteed. So the national TV deal is going to be a lot more emphasized by some of these small market owners. We've seen Mark Cuban sell the Dallas Mavericks, as he was one of those 15 NBA teams that was bundled into that Bally Sports package. But Evan Drellick of The Athletic kind of gave us some insight on a local level of some of the RSN issues that are going on and how it's affecting some of these teams, especially in Major League Baseball, as the Yankees and Dodgers have their own separate deals, which has been proven to be profitable, while other MLB teams have been scrambling to find an alternative to get their games to their customers. But this does have a correlation to the NBA and their issues going on with Bally's right now. But unlike Major League Baseball, the NBA has an opt-out clause where at the end of the year, they'll maintain the rights to those 15 other NBA small market teams. But again, the business of streaming has not been proven that it could be profitable long term. You guys check it out, and every once in a while, I'll check in.
Well, the RSN landscape is collapsing and crumbling and falling apart. I mean, even if you just take baseball, Diamond dropped 2 teams, Arizona and San Diego, and they renegotiated 3 other teams. Cleveland, Texas, and Minnesota, their deal expired, but they re-upped on a 1-year deal. So that's basically a renegotiation.
The NBA has also had certain teams like the Houston Rockets bundle up with their local MLB team to form their own network. And the Phoenix Suns, they've actually been broadcast on local television down there in Arizona. So the fallout with Bally Sports has already affected certain NBA teams, as a few teams had to scramble and find a way to get their games to their local audience. The Utah Jazz is also one of them. But the MLB situation that they're about to speak on has a correlation to the NBA teams with the dealings of the fallout of the RSN business model.
There are still 9 other teams that they haven't touched, right? So the majority of baseball teams that Diamond was working with, basically the perception you can walk away with is, well, those deals are working fine. You know, and the reality is there isn't money established, consistent money coming in through streaming options yet, really, for anybody. I mean, Peacock losing more than $2 billion in 2023. So it's not going to disappear, at least not overnight. I think what you've heard people in baseball, Commissioner Rob Manfred talk about, and I hear some media consultants talking about, is this kind of modified world where the exclusivity gets lessened. So, you could broadcast the games simultaneously. Maybe you can stream them, and the rights fees get lessened. But the RSN team relationship still exists. And in baseball, it's going to become very important. It was important years ago for these exclusivity arrangements to be loosened, and they haven't been. And it means that, if you're in a Comcast territory, you want to watch the Twins, and you're a Comcast subscriber, well, you're not in a great spot here if you subscribe to Comcast, because there isn't this alternative streaming option that you can just sign up for available separately. So I think it's less doomsday and more an altered world. MLB would like to have a national in-market streaming package, MLB.TV, which has existed for years and is, in my opinion, a great product. You could just, it works pretty darn well, and you can watch any out-of-market game. Wouldn't it be nice for fans and customers and anybody who just wants to watch a game to have that as an option for in-market? So if I'm in New York, where I am, I want to watch the Mets or the Yankees, I can't do that through MLB TV, and this has been a long-running complaint that people have, and this has to do with the exclusivity deals that the RSNs make with the teams. So what I was talking about before, where you get to this world where things get loosened, wouldn't it be great if both could exist? The RSN gets to broadcast the games, pays the team maybe less money than they do now, and also you could sign up through this package and get the games in the same way. I think that's the world that baseball would want the most, because that gives you still some set income, which, if baseball were only selling a national streaming package, it's a lot less predictable. People can walk away whenever, and sure, people can stop subscribing to cable, but once you get the box, typically you keep the box. We see cord cutters, but I think there's less variability of people going in and out of subscriptions when it comes to cable. So they want to be paid. I think that's overlooked here. It's like, yeah, do they want to have a national streaming package? Sure. If that means making a lot less money than they do now, they probably don't want it. But that's a little bit, cutting off your nose to spite your face, because they do need to broaden their reach. They do need to make it easier for people to access these games. It is, now they're according to my colleague Andrew Marchand, nearing a deal with Roku. I mean, how many different places are you going to be able to watch a baseball game? It's a little dizzying, and I think you lose people in a crowded landscape like that.
And that's something that the NBA, when Bally Sports had first filed for bankruptcy, a lot of teams like the Jazz, the Phoenix Suns, and Houston Rockets, they made sure that their games were widely available, even if it had to go to a regular broadcasting network. Again, a perfect example of this is Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. All their games are available to anyone in the Arizona area free of charge. All you just need is an antenna. So accessibility is very important.
These teams control their individual rights. The Yankees have their own deal with Amazon, but this national package that MLB was talking about, this in-market national package that the league that Manfred said he wanted to launch for 2025, was targeted to be about half the teams in the league, which you can argue is not enough to sell anyway, and some people do argue that. And so it's not so even if what you're saying is right and makes sense, and have Amazon do it, well, which teams do you have who are participating? And that's dependent in part on what deals are already in place. And again, this is why if Diamond emerges from bankruptcy, the deals that the Diamond teams have, they're still in place, right? If Diamond disappeared, there would be basically 12 teams that would have their rights back. You combine those with the handful of teams that MLB right now is producing and the teams have control of their rights over. Okay, now you got half the league, but you don't have it otherwise. And so there is this end game question that, I don't even want to call it an end game, but at some point, if you're going to go to streaming, you've got to stop handing over exclusivity to the RSNs. And when the Twins deal got done with Diamond for this year, 1 year deal, same with the Rangers, same with the Guardians, there was exclusivity again. Diamond wanted that, and the teams via MLB granted that. At some point, you got to stop doing that if you want to increase your reach, even if it means taking a little bit less money from Diamond.
Now, this is where the NBA found a way out. Once Diamond filed for bankruptcy, they renegotiated and made sure that all the teams that they have under Diamond, that they maintain the rights at the end of this year. So the NBA, in a way, they could formulate their own streaming apps, or they could do a local RSN deal, perhaps maybe with Amazon or another streaming service.
I mean, you're hitting the nail on the head. This is a classic big market, small market baseball division where, if you want to create an all 30 team package, okay, the Yankees sit there and say, my rights are X times more valuable than the Marlins. Are you paying me X times more to participate in your package? And, the teams control their local rights. That's just the way baseball has always operated. So, and this is a years long process that's going to unfold. You need current deals to expire, and then you would have to have some alignment of teams and owners to say we do or don't want to pool together. I do come back to a reality of, wouldn't it be nice if I want to be able to watch the 2024 Major League Baseball season? Can I sign up for something that lets me do that? Right, there's a very basic thing here that kind of unfortunately falls by the wayside because of this setup. And I got to tell you, it's one of, I found all this stuff when I first started covering it, maybe a bit intimidating. It is actually among the most fascinating things that I've come across. And because it controls everything, right? The amount of money that comes from the RSNs or whoever is paying for your TV rights influences how much money the teams are going to spend, influences the rosters, it's influences labor deals. It really is kind of the the thing from which everything else flows. And so it's not to get all kind of existential about it, but it is. It's a big deal. Yeah, it's a big deal.
So quite a conundrum for the leagues right now. On a national scale, it looks like the NBA has an advantage of closing out a lucrative deal. But on the local side, they're going to have to figure out what they're going to do with about half the league on expiring deals at the end of 2024. Interesting times that we're in right now. And you're beginning to see why the national NBA TV deal is going to be very important, because that local money is not really guaranteed. And the business model going forward is still unknown. But the landscape is going through a major shift. It's almost like going from back in the day farming to the transition of things being more industrial. Cars are being made in the factories, and everyday goods are being mass produced by machines. The sports media landscape is going through a very similar transition from broadcasting to streaming.